You know what the greatest video game series of all time is? No, I'm not Jason, and this isn't a hockey mask. I'm Matt, and let's get spooky. So tonight we'll be discussing the classic video game series, the greatest series of all time, Splatterhouse. The series that revolves around this guy cosplaying as Jason trying to save his girlfriend over and over again because this mother effer just can't catch a break. The series contains 3 main series entries, a spin-off, and a 2010 remake.
The first game, which was originally released for the arcades in 1988, involves 2 college students, Rick Taylor and Jennifer Willis, who get caught up in the storm and decide to break into an old spooky mansion, since, you know, getting wet sucks. And once inside, things aren't off to a good start. There's a whole bunch of monsters, Jennifer gets kidnapped, Rick finds a magical mask, you know, the usual stuff. So Rick F's up all these monsters, finds Jennifer, but now she's a monster herself, so Rick feels like this is a good time, if any, to tell her that they should see other people. So he kills her and runs off with the insurance money. And this game caused quite a stir when it was originally released in arcades due to its excessive violence and what some people believe to be anti-Christian themes, causing the arcade cabinets to be banned in the United States. However, a little while later, a heavily censored version of the game was ported over to the TurboGrafx 16. Unfortunately, no one was able to play this version of the game, being that nobody owned a TurboGrafx 16. This version toned down the gore, removed the Christian symbolism, and changed Rick's mask from white to red, so he didn't look so much like Jason Voorhees. And came complete with a warning label which read, "The horrifying theme of this game may be inappropriate for young children and cowards." And I don't know about you, but I'm no coward.
Yeah!
In 1989, a spin-off, or whatever you want to call it, entitled Splatterhouse Wanpaku Graffiti was released in Japan, and only Japan for some reason. In Wanpaku Graffiti, you play as an adorable, goddamn sweet, downright snuggleable little Rick as he tries to save Jennifer from the Pumpkin King. This game plays pretty much the same as Splatterhouse 1, with the only exception being that you need to kill a certain amount of enemies in order to progress to the next level. And much like the rest of the series, Graffiti makes multiple references to other staples of the horror genre, like Michael Jackson's Thriller, Friday the 13th, The Fly, and The Exorcist. In 1992, Namco released a follow-up to the first Splatterhouse, appropriately titled Splatterhouse 2. In this one, Rick finds out that Jennifer might not be a dead monster after all, so he goes out to save her. The game plays out exactly like the first one, a side-scrolling beat-em-up that's pretty mother effing enjoyable. However, this game was released on the Sega Genesis instead of the TurboGrafx 16, because Namco figured it'd make good business sense to sell their game on a console that more than 3 people owned. But in 1993, the greatest installment to the series, its magnum opus, Splatterhouse 3 was released, and oh boy, it didn't hold back. Digitized graphics, non-linear gameplay, multiple endings, and the cartridge even smelled like ham!
I like ham.
In fact, this game was so awesome that Senator Joe Lieberman, the senator who's never played a video game or satisfied his wife, read an advertisement at a hearing as an example of how evil and corrupting video games are. But in the process, just proved how awesome they are and how out of touch with reality he is.
At the top, it says he's back. Splatterhouse 3 for the Sega Genesis is the kind of game rating systems were invented for. Now, and then it goes on at the bottom to advertise that it includes deadly new weapons, 6 levels of monster bashing mayhem, and killer special moves. Don't you agree that kind of advertisement makes a mockery of your rating system?
What a dick.
But maybe I'm being a little too hard on the guy, because this is what you get when you first pop this bad boy in.
What happened?
I crapped my pants.
So this game takes place around 5 years after the second game. Rick marries Jennifer, they have a son David, and decides since things worked so well in the last spooky mansions they were in, that they should get one of their own. So things are all fine and dandy until one day the monsters come and take Jennifer again, and Rick has to team up with the mask once more and punch his way through a crap load of monsters to save her. But it turns out that this was all distraction while the monsters take his son, which was their plan the whole time. Dicks. And this game introduced a new feature to the series, where if Rick collects enough power orbs, he'll turn into Super Rick, a faster, stronger, more boner-inducing version of himself. The game also introduced a time limit for each level, which determines which important events will play out during that game, as well as which of the 4 endings you'll get.
which really didn't matter for me too much since I always got the worst ending. Because I suck.
So there's a good ending, two pretty bad endings, and the worst ending. The good ending is where you save Jennifer and David. The pretty bad endings are either Jennifer dies and David lives, or David dies and Jennifer lives. But the ending that I always got, the worst ending, is where everyone dies. You weren't able to save anyone, so now you have to be alone and deal with how much of a failure you are.
Like what I deal with every day.
Upon release, this game was heavily praised for kicking so much ass. But unfortunately, that was the last we heard of the series until the remake was released in 2010. And not a lot can be said about the remake. It had some hiccups during the development process. The development team behind it, Bottle Rocket, ended up getting fired with Namco Bandai taking over the project and finishing it, resulting in the game being delayed for over a year. And when it finally came out, it was met with the resounding meh. This game was a standard hack and slash like God of War or Devil May Cry, but despite this being a game in 2010, the gameplay still felt very dated and boring. You'd walk into a room, kill the monsters in it, go to the next room and do that again, rinse and repeat. It was difficult for me to even get through. It was so repetitive. And what didn't help was that the mask kept cracking these stupid jokes the entire time and irritating me. It's like, dude, just shut the hell up.
For a dick, you are such a pussy. Save me! Oh, Dr. West, it's so big! Do you ever stop talking?
The game felt more like it was making fun of the original series rather than honoring it, like it thought it was too cool to be associated with something from an old console from the 90s, which is a shame.
The game in recent years has been gaining a cult following for whatever reason, but I'm sure they're wrong. And I honestly don't see the appeal of it. It felt more insulting to me than anything. But maybe that's what it needs. Maybe that's what it has to take for this great series to be brought back and get the respect that it deserves. And with that being said, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for being spooky.